Everyone laughs when the sterile millionaire marries a black maid, but she surprises him with twins. Subscribe and tell us where you're watching us from today. Once upon a time, in a tall building in Boston, a young woman named Sophia Rivers was getting ready for her wedding. She wore a beautiful white dress with lace and stood in front of a big mirror. Her hands were shaking a little as she touched the dress, but she wasn't just nervous about the wedding, she had a big secret. Outside the window, the city looked lovely under the October sky. The wedding was going to be in a fancy room at the Plaza Hotel, and many important people were coming. Everyone was talking about how Sophia, who used to work as a maid, was marrying Benjamin Hartley, a rich and powerful man. Suddenly, the wedding planner said, "The car will be here in 15 minutes." Sophia nodded and tried to smile at her reflection, but her mind was thinking about her small apartment in the city, where her sister was taking care of her two baby boys. These babies were 3 months old and were her sons with Victor Hartley, Benjamin's younger brother, who had died in a helicopter crash. Victor never knew he was going to be a dad. Sophia had started working at Benjamin's big house 18 months ago. Victor visited often, and they fell in love. Their love was a secret and didn't last long because Victor died. After he was gone, Sophia found out she was going to have twins. But the Hartley family was so sad about Victor that Sophia didn't know how to tell them. Benjamin was very sad too, and he found comfort in talking to Sophia. They spent many nights talking, and slowly they fell in love. Sophia saw parts of Victor in Benjamin, like his smile and eyes, but Benjamin was his own person, carrying his own sadness. Sophia's friend, Sophia, came into the room and said, "The dress is perfect," but she looked worried and said, "You're not okay." Sophia sat down and said, "I can't do this. I can't marry him while keeping this secret." Sophia said, "Then tell him the truth. Benjamin deserves to know about the babies and Victor." Just then, they heard footsteps. Benjamin came in, wearing his wedding suit. He broke the tradition of not seeing the bride before the wedding. He looked at Sophia and said, "I needed to see you. Something told me you needed me." Sophia's heart beat fast. Benjamin could always tell how she felt. She said, "We need to talk." Sophia quietly left the room. Benjamin asked, "What's going on? You've seemed distant lately." Sophia took a deep breath and said, "There's something you need to know about me and Victor." Benjamin looked shocked. Sophia continued, "Victor and I fell in love before the accident. He never knew I was pregnant. I'm raising our twins." Benjamin leaned against the wall, looking pale. "Victor has children?" he asked. Sophia nodded, tears in her eyes. "They're 3 months old, Lila and Elliot." Benjamin closed his eyes, trying to understand. When he opened them, he looked very vulnerable. "Why didn't you tell me before?" he asked. Sophia said, "Because I fell in love with you and was afraid of losing you and hurting your family more." Benjamin walked over and held Sophia's face in his hands. "You're my family, and those children are all that's left of my brother." Sophia cried, feeling both scared and relieved. "I understand if you want to cancel the wedding," she said. Benjamin shook his head. "You've given me the greatest gift, a family." In that moment, surrounded by fancy dresses and shoes, they found healing in the truth. Their marriage would be built on honesty and love. The next morning, news about their wedding and the twins spread all over Boston, but Sophia and Benjamin were already on their way to a different place. In the car, Sophia held Benjamin's hand and said, "Turn right at the next street." They were going to her apartment in South Boston. Benjamin looked around the neighborhood, thinking about how Victor might have walked these streets to see Sophia. They stopped in front of a 3-story building. "This is it," Sophia said. As they went up to the second floor, they heard a baby crying. Benjamin's heart raced. It was the first time he heard his nephews. Sophia opened the door and her sister Mia was holding one of the twins. "Lila has colic," Mia said, surprised to see Benjamin. "Does he know?" Mia asked. "Yes," Sophia replied, walking to the crib where Elliot was sleeping. Benjamin, these are your nephews. Benjamin walked slowly to the crib. Elliot looked just like Victor did as a baby. Lila, still fussy, had green eyes like the Hartleys. May I? Benjamin asked, reaching for Lila. Mia looked at Sophia, who nodded. As soon as Benjamin held Lila, she stopped crying and grabbed his suit. The moment was so special that Sophia had to hold on to the crib to keep from falling. She has his temper, Benjamin said, his voice breaking. Victor could always calm anyone down. Sophia hugged Benjamin and Lila. They're your family too, she said. They always have been. Our family, Benjamin said, kissing Sophia's forehead. We need to tell my mother. Sophia looked worried. Elena Hartley, Benjamin's mother, was very traditional. We can wait a few days, Sophia suggested. But Benjamin said, No, we've waited long enough. She deserves to meet her grandchildren. Mia started packing the baby's things. I suppose you want to take them home to Hartley Manor, she said. Benjamin nodded, where they should always have been. For the next 2 hours, they packed clothes, diapers, and bottles. Benjamin canceled his appointments and arranged for a nurse to help with the babies. I've prepared rooms next to ours, he said. When they arrived at the Hartley mansion, Alina was waiting. Benjamin had told her he needed to see her but didn't mention the babies. Mom, Benjamin said, helping Sophia out of the car, there's something we need to show you. Elena watched as Mia came out with Lila and Sophia with Elliot. Her eyes widened. This is Lila and Elliot, Sophia said. Your grandchildren, Victor's children. Elena stepped forward, her hands shaking. They look just like him, she said, tears falling. Why didn't you tell me before? It was my decision, Sophia said. I found out after the accident and didn't know how to tell you. Elena raised her hand. It doesn't matter anymore. They're here now. She turned to Benjamin. Did you know? I found out yesterday before the wedding, he said, holding Sophia close. I decided it was time for our family to be complete again. Elena took Lila in her arms. The baby smiled and Elena kissed her forehead. Welcome to the Hartley family, she whispered. That night, while the twins slept in their new cribs, Sophia found Benjamin looking at an old photo of Victor. He would have been a wonderful father, Benjamin said. Just as you will be, Sophia replied, kissing his shoulder. Benjamin turned and hugged her. I promise to honor his memory by being the best father to these children. Under Victor's portrait, a new family began, built on love, loss, and second chances. The news about the twins spread through Boston's high society. The Boston Herald had a headline, Hartley Empire gains surprise heirs. Twins of the late Victor Hartley come to light. Sophia watched the chaos from the Hartley mansion where she, Benjamin, and the babies had settled. The phone rang constantly with curious socialites, journalists, and company board members wanting details. You don't have to answer any of them, Benjamin said, hanging up another call. He was in his office reviewing documents. Let them talk. But it wasn't that simple. During a big lunch to help raise money at a fancy hotel called the Fairmont Copley Plaza, Sophia walked into the room with Elena, Benjamin's mother. Elena had asked Sophia to come to the event. As soon as Sophia arrived, many people stared at her and whispered. Just a week ago, these same people had not been kind to her. Now they looked at her like she was someone very important. Darling, you should have told us, said Victoria Stanford, a lady who helped run the charity. She smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. You kept the Hartley babies a secret for so long. How strange. Sophia stayed calm. She had worked as a maid for many years and had learned how to stay quiet and strong. Some things are too special to talk about before the right time, Mrs. Stanford, Sophia said. Elena heard the mean comment and came over. She walked like a queen and smiled politely. Victoria, dear, Elena said, family matters are private. I know you understand. Sophia was surprised. In the past few days, Elena had become a loving grandma. She spent hours with the twins, telling them stories about Victor, Sophia's first love, and showing old pictures. Back at the big house, Sophia found her husband Benjamin in the baby room. He was gently holding little Elliot while baby Lila slept. It made Sophia's heart warm. Benjamin was a wonderful father, and it made her love him even more. "The council wants a meeting tomorrow," Benjamin said in a quiet voice, so he wouldn't wake the babies. "They want to talk about what the twins mean for the future of the company." Sophia felt a tight feeling in her chest. "But they're just babies, Benjamin." "They are Hartleys," he answered, placing Elliot into his crib, "and that means they carry the name and everything that comes with it." Just then, Sophia came into the room. She had a worried look and held up her tablet. "You need to see this," she said. On the screen was a picture from an old gossip blog. It showed Sophia and Victor together a long time ago. They didn't know anyone was taking pictures back then. "How did they get these?" Sophia asked, shocked. "Someone is digging deep," Sophia said, "and there are bad rumors going around." "What kind of rumors?" Benjamin asked, his face becoming serious. Sophia took a deep breath. "They're saying maybe Victor isn't the father. They think you made up the story to stay in the Hartley family." Benjamin looked angry. "That's not true. Anyone who looks at Lila and Elliot can see Victor in them." "It's not about truth," said Elena as she walked into the room. She looked tired and sad. "It's about power. That's what it's always been about." "We need to say something to the public," Sophia said. "Maybe an interview with Diane Porter from the Boston Globe. She is fair and kind." Benjamin nodded. "But it has to be on our terms. No pictures of the babies. No deep personal stories." Sophia surprised everyone. "We need DNA tests too," she said. "Not for us, but to stop all the lies." Elena gently held Sophia's hands. "Are you sure? That means showing even more of your private life." "I'm sure," Sophia said bravely. "For Victor, for Benjamin, for the babies. They need to grow up knowing the truth." Benjamin hugged Sophia from behind and kissed her softly. "Then we'll do it together, as a family." That night, after the babies were sleeping, Sophia found Benjamin on the balcony looking out at the city lights. "Do you regret marrying me?" she asked gently. "Even with all the trouble?" Benjamin turned and looked at her with loving eyes. "You gave me something I never thought I'd have, a family. And you brought a part of my brother back through those babies. I could never regret that." He pulled her close. Under the starry sky, Sophia felt strong. Whatever problems came, they would face them together. The next day was the big board meeting. It would be the first of many hard talks to protect the company and their family. Hartley Enterprises had a big office at the top of a tall building in Boston. Benjamin fixed his tie and walked into the meeting room. 12 board members were already there. Sophia gave him a smile and shook his hand. This was her first time joining a company meeting as Mrs. Hartley. "Good morning, everyone," Benjamin said. Amanda Peterson, the only woman on the board, gave a small nod. Robert Sterling, an older board member, spoke first. "Benjamin, we know about your situation, but we have to talk about what the babies mean for the company." "My nephews are only 3 months old," Benjamin said calmly. "They're not ready to run a business." "But they are Victor's only children," said Alexander Hayes, the finance man, "so they own part of the company." Sophia didn't like how they talked. It sounded like they were talking about her children like they were pieces in a game. "The DNA test came today," Benjamin said, handing them some papers. "Lila and Elliot are Victor Hartley's real children." The room became quiet. Amanda spoke next. "This changes everything. Victor owned 30% of the company. Now it belongs to his children. And Sophia is their guardian," said Robert, looking at her. Sophia sat up straighter. She felt everyone's eyes on her. "I don't want to control the company," she said. "I just want to protect my children." "A good thought," said Alexander, but his voice didn't sound friendly. "But how can we trust your choices will help the company too?" Benjamin hit the table lightly. He was upset. "Watch your words, Alexander. Sophia is my wife and the mother of the heirs. She deserves respect." Amanda spoke kindly. "No one is fighting you, but we should make a plan. Let's create a trust for the baby's shares until they grow up. The room became calmer. Lawyers were called, papers were signed, deals were made. Sophia watched as Benjamin took control of the room. He protected their family and helped the company, too. When they left the building, the sun was setting. You were amazing in there, Sophia told him. They needed to see that you're strong, Benjamin said, opening the car door, and that they can't control you. On the way home, Sophia got a message from Elena. The babies were doing well. They had just gone for a walk and were now sleeping. There was a photo of Lila holding her grandma's finger, her green eyes shining just like Victor's. Mom is completely in love, Benjamin said. I've never seen her this happy. Sophia smiled, then looked worried. Benjamin, what if I'm not ready? What if I don't know how to protect their legacy? The car stopped at a red light. Benjamin turned to her. Sophia, you kept our nephews safe for months. You made tough choices. I trust you more than anyone. At home, they found Alina in the winter garden, looking through an old photo album. Look what I found, she said. It was a baby picture of Victor. He looked just like baby Elliot. It's like he's still here, Elena said softly, touching the photo. Sophia sat beside her. She felt her eyes fill with tears. Sometimes when I see Lila smile, I see Victor again. She has his strong temper too, Benjamin said, pouring a drink. Elliot is quieter, Elena added, like Victor was as a baby. A soft cry came from the baby monitor. Sophia stood up. It must be bottle time. I'll go, Elena said, closing the album. You rest, darling. You've had a long day. When they were alone, Benjamin pulled Sophia into his lap and hugged her tight. You know what I admire most about you? He whispered. Your strength. Not many people can do what you did today. I learned from the best, Sophia said with a smile, giving him a kiss, and I'll do anything to protect our family. They heard Elena humming a soft lullaby through the monitor. It was a song Victor used to sing as a little boy. It felt like the past and present were coming together to make something new. The interview with Diane Porter comes out tomorrow, Benjamin said. Are you ready? I'm ready, Sophia replied, as long as we're together. And it was true. The mean whispers, the gossip, and the problems didn't matter compared to the love they had, the family they were building, and the future they were protecting. The next morning, the Boston Globe had a big story with the title, Love, Loss, and Hope, the story of the Hartley heirs. The picture showed Benjamin and Sophia holding hands in the garden, with Elena behind them looking peaceful. The article told Sophia and Victor's love story kindly. It talked about the sad accident and how Sophia later found out she was going to have twins. It explained how Benjamin and Sophia slowly fell in love while sharing their sadness. You should see what people are saying online, Sophia said, handing her tablet to Sophia at breakfast. People were saying nice things about the family. Some shared their own stories of love and loss. Many cheered for Sophia's bravery. The office just called, Benjamin said, walking into the room. The company's shares went up 3%. I guess honesty is good for business. Elena smiled over her tea. Alexander Hayes quit the board this morning. He made the right choice, and if Benjamin said, kissing Sophia's forehead and picking up Elliot. After the way he treated you, it was time. That day, they were going to another charity event, this time at the Children's Hospital. It would be Sophia's first time in public since the article came out. You don't have to go if you're not ready, Benjamin said as Sophia looked through dresses. I'm ready, she said, choosing a beautiful navy blue one. It's time to face the world. The hospital was very busy when Sophia and Benjamin arrived. Sophia felt nervous as they walked into the lobby, but this time the people didn't whisper mean things. Instead, they were curious and respectful. Victoria Stanford was the first person to walk up to Sophia. Her face looked sorry. Sophia, I'm so sorry for how I acted at the charity lunch, Victoria said. Your story is really inspiring. Before Sophia could say anything back, a young nurse came over and spoke to them. Miss Hartley, We have some children in the pediatric ward who would love to meet you. They read your story in the paper. Sophia looked at Benjamin, and he nodded, encouraging her to go. In the pediatric ward, they met a group of teenagers who were getting treatment. One of them, a 15-year-old girl named Mia, was especially emotional. "My dad died before he knew I was born," Mia said, crying a little. "Your story helped me feel less alone." Sophia held Mia's hand and smiled. "You're never alone. Love can be felt even when someone is not here." They spent hours at the hospital talking to patients and their families. Sophia and Benjamin helped everyone feel better. Sophia's mother-in-law, Elena, watched with pride as Sophia moved easily between all the people, offering them words of comfort and hope. When they got back to the mansion, they were surprised. Sophia had planned a small celebration for them with the oldest staff members in the house. These people had known Victor and had seen how Sophia and Benjamin had fallen in love. Miss Martha made Mr. Victor's favorite cake, the elderly housekeeper said, showing them a big chocolate cake with raspberries. "He used to steal extra slices when he thought no one was looking," Martha said, making everyone laugh. Sophia watched Benjamin playing with their son, Elliot, on the carpet. Alina was Holdila. The staff was sharing funny stories about Victor. This was Sophia's new family. It wasn't perfect, but it was full of love, and that made it special. "I found this in Victor's old room," Alina said softly, handing Sophia an envelope. Inside was a letter dated 2 weeks before Victor's accident. The letter said, "Dear Diary, I've met someone special. Her name is Sophia, and she makes my heart feel things I've never felt before." Tears filled Sophia's eyes as she read Victor's words. She could see how much he had loved her. Benjamin came over and held her tightly. "He really loved you," he whispered, his voice breaking. Later that night, after they put the twins to bed, Sophia found Benjamin in his office. He looked deep in thought. "What are you thinking about?" she asked him. "How life can be so surprising," he said. "A year ago, I didn't think I would ever have a family. Now I have you, the twins, and a purpose that's bigger than business. I was just an employee in love with the wrong man. Maybe you were in love with the right man, but at the wrong time," Benjamin said. "But now we're together." Just then, they heard Lila crying softly through the baby monitor. They smiled and went upstairs to see her. Elena was already holding Lila in her arms. "She has the same nightmares that Victor used to have," Elena said. "But she also has the same smile that makes everything brighter." Sophia looked around at her family. She had lost one family, but she had found another, and they were united by love. No matter what challenges came their way, they would face them together. One November morning, Sophia got a strange letter. It had no return address, but inside it said things that made Sophia feel uneasy. The letter said there were secrets about Victor that Sophia needed to know. It told her that Victor had a secret apartment in Cambridge. The letter asked Sophia to get in touch with the sender if she wanted to know more. Sophia felt her heart race, but before she could think more about it, Elena walked in. Sophia quickly hid the letter, but Elena noticed. "What is it?" Elena asked. "It's nothing," Sophia said, forcing a smile. But Elena wasn't fooled. She took the letter and read it. "This is an attempt to blackmail us," Elena said. "We need to tell Benjamin." "No," Sophia said quickly. "He's already dealing with so much. What if there's some truth to this?" Elena sat down beside her. "I've known Victor my whole life. He had his faults, like all of us, but he was never the man this letter is suggesting." Sophia felt torn. "I need to find out the truth, no matter what." "I understand," Elena said, "but I won't let you do this alone. I'll ask Daniel Hayes to help us." Daniel Hayes was a private investigator who had worked for the Hartley family for years. He quickly came to the mansion to help. After analyzing the letter, he said the paper was ordinary, but the printer was special, usually used in offices. It might be someone from the company, Daniel suggested. Elena didn't look happy. Are you saying someone from the company is trying to hurt us? It's possible, Daniel said. The address in the letter is real. There's a building in Cambridge near MIT. Sophia's heart skipped a beat. I have to go there. I need to know the truth. Elena tried to stop her. No, it's too dangerous. But Sophia was determined. I have to do this for the twins. So, a few hours later, Sophia drove to the address with Daniel following her in another car. The building looked old but well-maintained. Inside, an elderly woman named Mrs. Miller greeted them. You must be Benjamin's wife, Mrs. Miller said, recognizing her. I saw your picture in the paper. The babies are beautiful. Sophia felt a lump in her throat. I'm here to ask about Victor. Did he have an apartment here? Mrs. Miller smiled. Yes, he did. On the 3rd floor. He came here a lot to work on a secret project. Sophia was confused. What project? Mrs. Miller explained. Victor was working on a community center to help young people. He didn't want anyone to know about it yet. Sophia felt her legs go weak. She asked to see the apartment. Mrs. Miller led them upstairs, where they found Victor's things. There were maps and papers all about the community center. Victor had been planning something big to help kids in need. Sophia found a diary with a message from Victor. I met a girl today, Sophia. She has the same determined look as the young people I want to help. I can't wait to show her my project. Tears filled Sophia's eyes as she read. She realized that Victor had been working hard to help others, even though no one knew. The letter had been wrong. Victor had been a good man. Sophia quickly called Elena to tell her what they had found. She then returned to the mansion with Daniel. Benjamin was waiting for them, looking worried. Why didn't you tell me? He asked, hurt. I needed to find out for myself, Sophia said. Victor wasn't hiding anything bad. He was trying to help. Benjamin held the diary and looked at the plans. We're going to finish this project. Victor wanted it to help people, and we'll make sure it happens. That night, Sophia found another letter on her desk. It was from Elena. Today, you've shown why Victor loved you and why Benjamin has found his soulmate in you, the letter said. You protect our family and make it better. Sophia smiled and fell asleep with the letter on her chest, feeling peaceful. Victor's legacy would live on through his project, and it would help many people. The project moved forward quickly. The building chosen for the community center, an old library in Dorchester, was being renovated. Sophia watched as it changed, feeling proud of what they were doing. One day, while visiting the site, they found an old plaque that said, Dorchester Public Library, where dreams take wing. Benjamin smiled. We'll include this in the new design. It connects the past with the future. A group of teenagers, some from the hospital, came to visit. They had heard about the scholarship project and wanted to help. We want to be a part of this, one of the girls said. Benjamin looked at Sophia and she nodded. We're forming a youth council to help us understand what the community needs. Would you like to join? The teenagers smiled brightly. Sophia and Benjamin watched them, knowing that Victor's dream would live on. Sophia watched Benjamin talk to the young people. He looked formal at first, but then he became warmer and more friendly. He had a special way of connecting with them. Elena, who had come in quietly a few minutes earlier, noticed this too. Sophia held Elliot in her arms. The baby was waking up from his nap. Sometimes I wonder if Victor knew how much he would impact people even after he was gone, Sophia said. The best of us don't always realize how big of a difference we make, Elena replied softly. That's why we need to tell their stories, Elena added. The afternoon passed with lots of important talks and big plans. They decided to name the new community center the Victor Hartley Community Center. The center wouldn't just offer scholarships, it would also help with mentoring, therapy, and career programs. At dinner that night, Sophia noticed Benjamin seemed different. He seemed happier and more present, not thinking about work like usual. I found something today, Benjamin said after the kids went to bed. He pulled out an old photo from his briefcase. It showed a teenage Victor sitting on the steps of the library they were renovating. He had a book open in his lap. "Where did you get this?" Sophia asked, gently touching the picture. "It was in the local library archives," Benjamin answered. Victor used to help younger kids with their homework there when he was in high school. Benjamin paused, his voice becoming a bit husky. He always knew what he wanted to do, didn't he? He knew his purpose was bigger than the Hartley business. Sophia hugged Benjamin tightly, feeling tears fill her eyes. And now we're helping him fulfill that purpose through the twins and through this center. "I got an interesting call today," Elena said, joining them. "Boston University wants to work with the center. They want to give guaranteed spots to the scholars who qualify." Everyone was excited. This was just one more sign that Victor's dream was strong and that it would continue to grow. Later that night, the house was quiet. Sophia found Benjamin in the twins' room, watching them sleep. Lila was holding on to her teddy bear, a gift from Victor. Elliot was sleeping with his little hands stretched out, almost reaching for Leela. "They're a miracle," Benjamin whispered, wrapping his arm around Sophia. "Through them and through this center, Victor is still here, still making a difference." Sophia rested her head on Benjamin's shoulder. Her heart was full of love and gratitude. The road hadn't always been easy, but everything they'd gone through had led them to this moment. Now, the past wasn't something to fear. It was a light showing them the way to a hopeful future. Snow was falling softly over Boston when the news came. Sophia's biological mother had passed away in a small hospital in Rhode Island. A social worker called to tell her. "She asked about you in the last few days," the social worker said on the phone. "She left some letters and a diary for you." Sophia was in the office of the community center, surrounded by building plans and reports. Benjamin, who was on a video call, immediately noticed that something was wrong when he saw Sophia tense up. "I need to go to Providence," Sophia said after Benjamin ended his meeting. "There are some things I need to figure out about my past." Without hesitation, Benjamin said, "I'll go with you. Elena can stay with the twins." The 2-hour drive to Providence was quiet. Each mile brought Sophia closer to a part of her past that she had kept hidden. The hospital was small and plain, its beige walls contrasting with the white snow outside. Mrs. Rivers passed away peacefully, the nurse at the hospital told them when they arrived. She spent her last months organizing documents and writing letters. She wanted to leave something behind. Sophia opened the first envelope with trembling hands. The handwriting was delicate and unsure. "Dear Sophia," it started, "you must have so many questions, so many reasons to be angry with me. But please know, giving you and Mia up was the hardest thing I've ever done. I was only 19, with no family, and a disease the doctor said was terminal. I wanted you to have the chance I couldn't give you. What the doctors didn't expect was that I would survive. I spent years in treatment, not only fighting for my life, but carrying the weight of that decision. I watched you grow from afar. I saw you become a strong woman. I saw your wedding in the paper and read about your babies. You've given your family something I couldn't give mine, unconditional love." Sophia paused and wiped her eyes. "Please forgive me if you can. With eternal love, Rebecca Rivers." Benjamin held Sophia as she cried. For so many years, she had questions that now were being answered. In the diary, they found more photos of Sophia and Mia growing up, newspaper clippings, and notes on important moments Rebecca had watched from a distance. "She never really abandoned us," Sophia whispered. "She just loved us enough to let us go." The impact of this discovery stayed with Sophia. The next day, Mia came to visit. She had found an old photo of Rebecca, smiling even though she looked tired and worn. "She loved us, Sophia. In her own way, she loved us." Ava, who was with them, said softly, "A mother's love doesn't always look the way we expect. Sometimes, the hardest choices are made out of love." The next few days brought more discoveries from Rebecca's papers. They found stories about Sophia and Mia's grandparents, people they had never met. There was even a cultural history they had lost. Now they could share that with the twins. Sophia decided, I want to put something of her into the community center. Rebecca was a nurse before she got sick. Maybe we could create a medical wing and name it after her. Benjamin smiled, seeing the same determination in Sophia that he had fallen in love with. The Rebecca Rivers Wing for Community Health. I think that sounds perfect. The project grew. It would not only provide basic medical care, but also support programs for single mothers and families in need. This was a way to honor both Victor's legacy and Rebecca's memory, two different kinds of love that had shaped the Hartley family. Nothing happens by chance, Ava said one evening. Victor, Rebecca, the two of you, all these stories of love and loss are coming together to create something bigger than we could have imagined. Sophia looked at her family gathered around. Benjamin was playing with the twins, Mia was telling stories, and Victor's picture smiled down from the wall. She felt a deep peace. Her past was no longer something to be afraid of. It was part of a larger story of love and forgiveness. Benjamin raised his glass during dinner. To Rebecca, he said, who taught us that true love sometimes means letting go. To Rebecca, everyone echoed. Sophia felt tears of gratitude on her cheeks. Her heart was full, and she knew that past and present had merged into a promise for the future. The Victor Hartley Community Center was about to open. The twins were turning 1, and Sophia was excited to combine the celebration with the opening of the center. She felt it was the perfect way to honor all the kinds of love that had shaped her family. The medical equipment arrives tomorrow, Dr. Catherine Preston, the new head doctor at the center, told Sophia. And we already have a waiting list for our prenatal program. Sophia smiled, thinking about how many mothers would get the help that Rebecca never had. The old building looked beautiful now, with bright colors and spaces designed to make everyone feel comfortable. Benjamin came into the office holding a brown envelope. We found something else in Victor's apartment, he said softly. Sophia's heart raced. Over the past months, every new discovery about Victor had felt like a gift. Benjamin placed the envelope on the table between them. It's a will, he said quietly. He wrote it 2 weeks before the accident. He must have suspected the pregnancy. Sophia opened the envelope with trembling hands. The will was simple, but what it said was huge. Victor had left clear instructions for how his part of the company should be handled if anything happened to him, and he specifically mentioned any children he might have with Sophia. He knew, Sophia whispered, her eyes filled with tears. Benjamin wrapped his arms around her. He wanted to protect you and the children, even if he wasn't sure. News of the will spread quickly, and the company board called a special meeting. This time, though, there was no gossip or suspicion, just respect for Victor's wisdom. This changes everything, Amanda Peterson, a board member, said. Victor thought ahead. He set clear rules to protect his children. Elena, who was at the meeting, smiled. My son was always wiser than he seemed. The preparations for the twins' first birthday party were in full swing. Sophia had decided to hold the party along with the opening of the center. It felt like the perfect way to celebrate the love that had shaped their family. Lila took her first steps today, Mia said, helping with the decorations. Everyone stopped when they heard the news. It was in moments like this that Victor's presence felt strongest. In the babies' smiles, in their little achievements, and in the way they seemed to recognize their father's picture. Elliot is almost walking too, Sophia added, watching her son try to balance on the sofa. He has the same determination that Victor had. Later that evening, when the children were asleep, Benjamin found Sophia on the balcony looking at the city lights. What are you thinking about? He asked, handing her a glass of wine. About how life comes full circle, Sophia said. Victor gave us more than a business or a building. He gave us a purpose. Benjamin nodded. The center already has over 100 applications for the scholarship program. Can you imagine how many lives will be changed? Sophia smiled, just like mine was. The opening day was sunny, as if even the weather wanted to celebrate. The center had colorful banners and a big crowd. Elena came out carrying Lila, who wore a sky blue dress, just like the one Victor had worn on his first birthday. Elliot, in Benjamin's arms, looked handsome in his little suit. To Victor, Sophia said into the microphone after the speeches, who taught us that the real legacy isn't in buildings or money, but in how we change lives. The doors to the center opened, and with them, a new chapter in the Hartley family began. It wasn't just a memorial for Victor or a tribute to Rebecca. It was proof of how love can turn pain into purpose. Look, Benjamin whispered to Sophia, pointing to the twins. They were walking hand in hand toward Victor's picture in the lobby. They know. They've always known. The Victor Hartley Community Center quickly became famous, even reaching beyond Boston. In just 3 months, the Rebecca Rivers Wing helped more than 200 mothers who were in difficult situations. The scholarship program was also helping people all over Massachusetts. Sophia was sitting in her downtown office, looking at reports about how the center was making a difference. Just then, Catherine Preston came running in. Sophia, you need to meet someone. Catherine said excitedly. The doctor told me you should meet her. A young woman no older than 17 walked into the room. She was holding a baby in her arms. The look on her face was a mix of fear and determination, a look Sophia knew all too well from her own past. This is Amelia Catherine, Catherine introduced. She came to the center yesterday. Her story, well, you need to hear it. Amelia sat down, gently holding her baby. My mom was your mom's patient, she began softly. Rebecca Rivers helped her during her cancer treatment a few years ago. She always said that Nurse Rivers was the only one who truly understood her. Sophia's heart started to race. Another connection, another piece of her past coming back. Amelia continued, when I found out I was pregnant, my mom told me about Rebecca's story. She told me how Rebecca had to make difficult choices for love. That's why I came here for help. Later at dinner with Benjamin and Alina at Hartley Manor, Sophia shared the story with them. Lila and Elliot, now 13 months old, were playing on the floor with their toys. It's amazing how all these stories are connected, Alina said, watching her grandchildren play. Benjamin took Sophia's hand and said, the center is becoming exactly what Victor dreamed of, a place of second chances and new beginnings. Just then, Elliot stood up for the first time and took 3 little steps towards Sophia. Mama, he said, making everyone cry happy tears. He always knew the perfect moment, Benjamin said, his voice breaking. He knew how to make a moment unforgettable. Mia, who had quietly come in for dinner, captured the moment with a photo for the center's memory album. In the following days, Sophia worked on a new project. She decided to make a photo exhibit at the center, telling the stories of people who had found new hope through Victor and Rebecca's legacy. Amelia and her baby would be part of the exhibit, along with other families who had been helped by the center. One morning, Catherine brought Sophia an old photo from the hospital archives. The photo showed Rebecca Rivers smiling next to a patient, her nurse's badge shining under the bright lights. The date on the photo was just a week before Rebecca found out she was sick. Sophia studied the photo, seeing the kindness in Rebecca's eyes. It was the same kindness she saw in Victor's eyes, and now she saw it in her children's eyes. I sometimes wonder, Sophia said to Benjamin that night as they watched the twins sleep, if all this wasn't meant to happen by something bigger than us. Victor, Rebecca, the center. Everything fits so perfectly. Benjamin hugged her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. I believe that special people leave waves of love that continue long after they're gone, he said. It's our job to keep those waves alive. The photo exhibition opened on a beautiful spring evening. It was filled with families who had been helped by the center and members of the Boston business community. The stories in the pictures created a tapestry of hope and new beginnings. Sophia spoke at the event. Victor and Rebecca taught us that true love shows itself in mysterious and powerful ways. And to everyone who has found a new beginning here, you are living proof that there are no endings, only new chapters. As guests looked around the exhibit, Sophia saw Lila standing in front of Rebecca's picture. Her little hand was stretched out like she was trying to touch the photo. Soon, Elliot joined her, and the two of them stood there together, staring at the grandmother they would never meet. They feel it? Elena whispered, standing nearby. They feel the connections, the bonds that time can't break. Later that evening, when the guests had left, Sophia found a new letter on her desk. It was from Amelia. The letter said, "The center gave me more than medical help or money. It gave me hope. It showed me that even the hardest stories can have happy endings." Sophia kept the letter, along with all the others she had received from people whose lives had been touched by the center. Rebecca's, Victor's, and many others. Each letter was proof that love, in all its forms, could go beyond time and change lives. That night, Benjamin found Sophia lost in thought. "Ready to go home?" he asked gently. "Yes," Sophia smiled. "Our story is still being written." Benjamin kissed her softly, and each chapter is more beautiful than the last. In June, 6 months after the Victor Hartley Community Center opened, Sophia received exciting news. A university in Chicago wanted to create a center just like theirs. They had heard about the center's success and wanted Sophia to give a presentation. Benjamin handed Sophia the invitation. "The dean really liked the Rebecca Rivers wing," he said. Sophia thought about it. "That means we could help even more people," she said, imagining how many others like Amelia could find hope through Victor's legacy. "I'll go with you," Benjamin said without hesitation. "Ava has already offered to watch the twins. Plus, Chicago is where Victor went to college. There are a few places I'd like to show you." Everyone in the family helped prepare for the trip. Catherine would temporarily take care of the center, and Mia promised to visit the twins every day. "They grow so fast," Ava said as she watched Lila try to feed her teddy bear with a spoon. Every day is a new memory of Victor. The night before they left, Sophia found Elliot sitting in Benjamin's office, carefully flipping through an old photo album. "Papa J," Elliot said, pointing to a picture of Victor. It was a nickname Ava had taught the twins. "Yes, love," Sophia said, sitting next to him. "That's Papa J." Sophia's heart filled with emotion as she saw how Elliot was already starting to show traits of his biological father. Chicago was hot when they arrived. Benjamin had booked a hotel room with a view of the magnificent Mile. Victor used to say that some of his best ideas for his projects came during walks down this street, Benjamin explained. Before the big presentation the next day, Benjamin took Sophia to Victor's old dorm at college. "This is where Victor began to develop his passion for helping others," Benjamin said. Sophia touched the wall of the dorm, imagining Victor walking there, dreaming of making a difference. Benjamin smiled. He left his mark everywhere. The presentation the next day went well. Sophia shared real stories about Amelia and other families whose lives had changed, thanks to the center. The audience was moved by the stories and the legacy of Victor and Rebecca. At the end, an elderly woman stood up and said, "I knew Victor Hartley. He was my student. He always said he would one day create something that would change lives. It's beautiful to see that dream come true through you." The meeting stayed with Sophia and Benjamin throughout dinner that night. "Sometimes I wonder," Sophia said, playing with her wedding ring, "if we're living up to his legacy." Benjamin took her hand. "We're not just keeping Victor's legacy alive," he said. "We're making it even bigger. And now," he smiled, "Chicago will have its own version of the center." When they returned to Boston, the news that Chicago had approved the project was met with excitement. Ava hosted a small celebration at Hartley Manor. Lila and Elliot were running around in the garden while the adults discussed the next steps. Victor would be so proud, Ava said, watching Lila build a tower with blocks. Sophia hugged her mother-in-law, both of them sharing a quiet moment of understanding. Victor's love was still growing, still touching lives, and his legacy was extending far beyond Boston. That night, after putting the twins to bed, Sophia found Benjamin in his office working on plans for the new center in Chicago. "Do you know what impresses me the most?" he asked, looking up from his papers. "How each new chapter in this story brings us closer to Victor, not further away." Sophia walked over and kissed him on the forehead. Because true love knows no boundaries. It just grows, changes, and finds new ways to flourish. The success in Chicago sparked even more interest. In just 2 months, 3 other cities, Denver, Seattle, and Atlanta, wanted to create their own Victor Hartley community centers. "It's like a chain reaction," Sophia said during a video call with the new Chicago team. Benjamin smiled as he entered the room with Elliot. The little boy rushed to show Sophia his latest drawing, colorful doodles of what he called Papa J in the sky. Sophia's heart squeezed as she realized how deeply Elliot was connecting with his father's memory. Benjamin looked at Sophia. "We have an interesting situation," he said, mentioning that Alexander Hayes, a former board member, wanted to make a big donation to the center. His granddaughter, who was pregnant and scared, had found help at the Rebecca Rivers wing. "It's ironic," Sophia said, remembering how Alexander had once criticized the center. "Life has a funny way of showing us what really matters." Ava smiled. "The universe does have a sense of humor." Elena was shocked when she heard the news over dinner. Lila, who was sitting on her lap, was playing with a small pearl necklace, a family heirloom that Victor had promised to give to his future daughter. "Mama!" Lila suddenly called out, pointing to a picture of Victor on the wall. "Papa J!" she said, smiling. Her innocent words made everyone quiet for a moment. It was true. Victor had the same bright smile in that picture that Lila had. It was the kind of smile that could light up a whole room. "I found something today," Mia said, walking into the dining room. She had a dusty box in her hands from Rebecca's old apartment. "The hospital was cleaning out some things and contacted me. Inside the box, along with some old photos and personal papers, was a diary that Rebecca kept about her work. It was full of her notes about the people she cared for. It showed how much she helped others in her short time as a nurse." "Look at this," Sophia said, her voice shaking as she read one of the pages. It says, "Rebecca took care of Amelia's mother. She helped her even though the woman was very sick. She tried her best to give her daughter a good life, even though she knew she didn't have long to live." Benjamin gave Sophia a hug from behind. They both felt the weight of this discovery. "It feels like there's a connection," he said quietly, "like Rebecca helped us find our way here." The next day, Catherine Preston set up a small ceremony at the Rebecca Rivers wing of the community center. It was for the mothers who had been helped by the center. Many of them shared their stories, and one of them was Samantha, Alexander Hayes' granddaughter. She was pregnant and spoke up, saying, "I was lost before. My grandfather always told me to care about what other people think, but here I found something more important. I found truth, acceptance, and hope." Sophia looked over at Alexander Hayes, sitting at the back of the room with tears in his eyes. After the ceremony, he came up to her. "I was wrong," he said, his voice full of emotion. "About you, about the center, about everything. Victor always saw beyond what others thought and saw the good in people. I see now how your work is living on his legacy." Before they could say more, Elliot came running in with another drawing. This one showed the community center, and he had labeled all the people in it as family. "That's what we've made here," Sophia said to Alexander, pointing to the drawing. A big family, one that's not just about blood, but about caring for each other. This is what Victor dreamed of. Benjamin found Sophia later on the balcony, looking at the sunset over Boston. All of them, he said softly. Victor, Rebecca, all the people who helped make this happen. Sophia nodded. I wonder if they knew that they were planting seeds that would grow long after they were gone. Benjamin smiled. True love does that. It keeps on giving, even after we're gone. The twins were sleeping peacefully in their bedroom, their little faces lit by the soft light of their nightlight. Elliot's latest drawing was on the bedside table next to a picture of Victor. The two generations were connected by love, even if no one could see it. Then, one day, Sophia got a phone call from Victor's lawyer. He had been going through old papers and found a letter that Victor had written to Sophia just before his last trip. I need to see you immediately, the lawyer said, sounding urgent. Sophia was at the community center working when she got the call. Benjamin met her at the law office. They sat down in front of the lawyer, who handed them a yellowed envelope. Victor left instructions for this letter to be delivered only when the center was fully set up and growing, the lawyer explained. Sophia's hands shook as she opened the envelope. She recognized Victor's handwriting immediately. My dear Sophia, the letter began. If you're reading this, it means that my dream has come true. Even if I'm not there to see it, I always knew you would be the one to make it happen. I knew you'd bring this vision to life, even before I found out about our children. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. There's something I need to confess, Victor had written. The night before my accident, I found out that you were pregnant. I heard you talking to your sister about how you were going to tell me. I wanted to run to you right then, but I had one more meeting in New York to finish. But I want you to know that night when I heard about our children, it was the happiest moment of my life. I want you to know that everything has happened the way it was supposed to. I've enclosed the deeds to a property on Martha's Vineyard, a place where our family can grow away from all the stress of the city. It's my gift to you and our children. Sophia cried silently, feeling the weight of Victor's love in his words. The lawyer added, there's one more thing. Victor set up an educational fund for not just his children, but for all the children who are helped by the center. It's called the Rebecca Rivers Fund, in honor of his mother. Sophia's heart swelled with emotion. Victor knew, she whispered. He knew about the pregnancy. He was already planning a future for us. On their way home, Sophia and Benjamin stopped at the community center. The twins were there, taking part in a music therapy session. Lila ran up to them. Grandma showed us pictures of Papa J playing the piano, she said, smiling. Elliot, who was always quiet, walked over holding a photo of Victor at the piano. Just like me, he said, pointing to the photo and then to his own little hands, which were playing a tiny piano in the center. Ava, who was watching, smiled with tears in her eyes. Victor always said that music could heal, she said. And now, his music is still helping. Later that night, after they put the twins to bed, Sophia and Benjamin visited the house on Martha's Vineyard. The house was beautiful, a Victorian building with a view of the ocean. It was exactly the kind of place Victor would have loved. He thought of everything, Benjamin said, looking out at the water. Even though he's not here, he's still taking care of you, all of us. Sophia smiled. You're part of his legacy too, Benjamin. The center wouldn't be here without your vision. Back in Boston, Ava was going through Victor's old sheet music. I thought we could use some of these for the music therapy program, she said, showing them to Sophia. That's a great idea, Sophia agreed. She looked at the music, remembering how Victor used to play those songs. Each note seemed to tell a story of love and loss and the love they shared. Victor has managed to combine his two greatest passions, music and helping people, Benjamin said as he looked through some papers. The Rebecca Rivers Fund is going to help more than 100 students next year. Sophia smiled, thinking about how Victor's love, which had once seemed like a shadow in her life, had become the thing that brought her and Benjamin even closer together. A few weeks later, the Victor Hartley Community Center expanded to 5 more cities. It was the twins' second birthday, and Sophia was in her office when Catherine Preston came in with a tablet. "You need to see this," Catherine said, showing Sophia an article from the New York Times. It was about the center's success. The article was titled "The Legacy of Love," and it talked about how the center had become a national movement, helping thousands of people across the country. Sophia's heart raced as she read about how their work was inspiring other programs. "The Rebecca Rivers Fund has transformed over 1,000 lives in just 2 years," Benjamin said proudly. Sophia felt her heart fill with love. The twins, now 2 years old, were growing up to be just like Victor. Lila, who loved to smile, had the same bright smile he had. Elliot, who loved music, was already playing the piano just like Victor. That day, Ava came into the room carrying an old box. "I found some more of Victor's sheet music," she said. She also pulled out a USB stick that was labeled, "For Sophia and my children when the time is right." Sophia felt her heart stop for a moment. Another message from Victor. Benjamin plugged the USB stick into the computer, and Victor's face appeared on the screen, smiling just like he always had. "If you're watching this," Victor's voice said, "it means that the center is growing beyond Boston. Sophia, my love, I always knew you would make this dream come true." He continued, "Benjamin, thank you for helping our family and for expanding this dream." Sophia held Benjamin's hand tightly while the twins watched, their eyes wide as they saw their father, even though they had never met him. Victor spoke directly to them. "Lila, Elliot, you are my greatest gift. Through you, my love continues to live and touch other lives." The video ended with Victor playing a song on the piano, one that Sophia recognized immediately. It was the same song Elliot was learning to play. Benjamin whispered, somehow he knew it would all fit together. Victor's music became the theme for the center's music therapy program. Catherine told Sophia that the patients loved it. It brought them hope and healing. At the twins' second birthday party, not only at the Hartley Mansion but also at the center, families gathered to celebrate their stories. Sophia smiled as she watched her children. Elliot was playing the piano and Lila was dancing with a group of kids. "It's a symphony," Ava said softly, watching the children. "Every story is a note in the melody that Victor began." As Sophia and Benjamin watched the sunset that night, Sophia thought about how Victor's love, which she once feared would be an obstacle, had become the thing that guided their lives. True love never ends. It just finds new ways to grow. And so, under the stars, as the twins slept to the sound of the ocean waves, Sophia and Benjamin continued to build their own symphony of love, honoring Victor's legacy and making sure that it would continue to live on through their actions for generations to come. Thanks for watching. If you liked the story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Check out our other videos too. See you in the next one.